In a somber ruling at Norwich Crown Court, 66-year-old Martin Daniels, a former Sea Scout volunteer from Manor Farm, North Walsham, Norfolk, was sentenced to 9 years in prison for committing 29 sexual offences against 3 young boys between 1980 and 1991. The offences, which Daniels admitted to, occurred within the Sea Scouts unit in Buxton, near Aylsham, where he exploited his position of trust to prey on vulnerable children. The court heard harrowing accounts from the victims, whose lives were profoundly altered by the abuse they endured, as well as a poignant statement from a mother who unknowingly welcomed Daniels into her home. The victims, who were as young as 7 at the time of the abuse, described the devastating and enduring impact of Daniels' actions. One man, now an adult, revealed that the trauma left him unable to form meaningful relationships or engage in intimacy, robbing him of the chance to have children. In a statement read by prosecutor Danielle O'Donovan, he described how Daniels meticulously groomed not only him but his entire family, presenting himself as a charismatic and trustworthy figure. His charming facade allowed him to infiltrate my family, the victim said, adding that the abuse disrupted his education and personal development, forcing him to compensate for those losses throughout his life. Another victim, whose abuse began at around 7 years old, recounted how Daniels manipulated playful interactions into sexual contact. In one particularly distressing incident, the boy was pinned to the floor and had to scream for Daniels to stop, an act that, under today's laws, would be classified as rape and carry a sentence of up to 25 years. At the time, such an offence would have warranted a maximum of 10 years. This victim spoke of battling depression, viewing intimacy as shameful, and grappling with suicidal thoughts. "Even after 4 decades, I feel his control over me," he said in his statement, reflecting on years of therapy to reclaim his sense of self. "The deepest wound is the belief that I was nothing more than an object to be used." The court also heard from the mother of one victim, who expressed both heartbreak and pride in her son's courage to come forward after decades of silence. Unaware of the abuse at the time, she had regarded Daniels as a friend and welcomed him into their home. She recalled her son's increasing isolation over the years, which she now understands as a consequence of the trauma. "I wish I had never met him," she said, her statement underscoring the betrayal felt by the families. Presiding over the case, Judge Anthony Bate addressed Daniels directly, condemning the darker side of his character that remained hidden during his years as a Sea Scout volunteer. He noted that Daniels, who was 22 and of good character in 1980, became an opportunistic predator over the next decade, targeting boys aged 7 to 15 who should have been safe in his care. "Your victims deserve to build healthy, fulfilling relationships as adults, but your actions shattered that hope," Judge Bates said, acknowledging the courage of the survivors in sharing their experiences after so many years. In mitigation, Daniels' defense counsel, Sally Hobson, argued that her client's own experience of sexual abuse at age 7 had profoundly distorted his understanding of relationships. She described Daniels as a changed man, one who had struggled with shame over his sexuality and the consequences of his actions. "He is genuinely remorseful," Hobson stated, emphasizing that Daniels, now older and aware of the lasting harm caused by abuse, did not fully grasp the impact of his behavior at the time. Despite this, she acknowledged the profound suffering of the victims, for which Daniels expressed regret. The court proceedings were marked by emotional weight, with Daniels visibly shaking his head as the victims' statements were read aloud. The accounts painted a picture of lives irrevocably altered, marked by addiction, mental health struggles, and a pervasive sense of loss. For the survivors, the opportunity to confront their abuser in court offered a measure of closure, though the scars of their experiences remain. Judge Bates' sentencing reflected the gravity of the crimes, ensuring that Daniels faces significant consequences for the trust he betrayed and the futures he disrupted.